Hello folks, how are you? This is Donna Marie for Eclectic Paperie, and I just want to show you a tag that I just made. This is going up on my blog, and it'll be going on the Eclectic Paperie Challenge, which is tomorrow, Thursday. God, where are we? We're in March, I believe March 5th or 6th. And I'll put that all up, all the information up on the video at the very end so that you can be sure to check that out. But the big deal in this tag was here, I really want to show you how I made this flower. Just give you a little bit of a close-up. Really cool, very quick, easy, and I love the dimension. It has nice sturdiness to it. It's not going to fall apart. It's, you know, it'll crush easily if you want to put it in an album, and it'll pop back up again. So I really liked making this, and I thought I would show you how I did that. Tim Holtz right now has a challenge on his blog to use his Tattered Florals die, and that's what this is, the Tattered Florals die. And I used that to cut out tulle fabric. Now it's not really tulle, it's a sheer fabric, almost like an organdy, but it's a man-made fiber. It's synthetic. It's not a natural fiber, and that's what you want. You want the cheapest. I got this at Joann's. It was on a roll. You want the cheapest synthetic fiber you can get, because that's going to make the design, and it's going to make it really special. So I got a purple, and then I got a lime green roll. And you can see the fabric has a little bit of shimmer to it. It's really very sheer. And I want to show you how I put this together and how I created this flower. So I ran through my Big Shot, the Tattered Floral die, and I have 4 layers of the purple tulle. So I laid it up 4 times, and you can send it through just once because it's all thin enough, and it's a steel roll die. It'll cut it pretty well. So there's 4 of them here, 4 purple, and then 4 green. And I did all 4 parts of the flower. So I have the large, I have the medium, the small, and the really small ones. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer them up, and I'm going to put a thumbtack through them to hold everything together. So I'm going to do that, and when I come back, you'll see everything layered up with a thumbtack through it, and then I'll show you how I actually created the flower itself. Okay folks, I'm back, and I'm layering up my flower. So excuse the mess over there. I was having fun with inks, and I took the top off and it spilled, so it's a fun little decoration up there that I'm going to leave. Anyway, I'm layering up my flower, so I have my purple, then I did my green, I did another purple, and I'm starting with the big one first. And I'm just putting them on top of one another, and I'm altering the colors. So I'll go back to purple, back to green, and I did all the big ones first. So that was all the biggest flower first. Then I went ahead and I did these here. These are the ones that have the all the small thin petals to them, and I started layering this one up as well. And you don't have to be too careful, because when we get through with this, you'll see that it's really not going to matter. So just keep layering. I alternated colors. Sometimes you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want more of a purple in the background and more of a green in the center. So there it is, and it's kind of looking, it's not looking too great. It's like, it's just alright. But then I'm going to my smaller flower here, and this is the third one down. I don't know if you can see it. The third size down. And I'm going to layer that one up as well. And the smaller one I'm going to leave, because the smaller one was I used separately on my tag. I can show you that again. So here we go. Here's everything layered up. I left that one out, that's okay. Now I'm going to take a brad. I think I said thumbtack earlier. I apologize. I took a brad and poked a hole right through the center of the flower, just to put my brad through to hold everything. And then we're going to have some fun actually making it look like a real flower. So you may have a little trouble getting it through, but you can see that it pops through the back there. And this is an old foam pad that I have from where brads come in. So the brads used to be stuck in there, and I saved it and I use it. And I use a thumbtack just to kind of poke the hole through. Help me out. So there we go. There's the brad that went through the back. I'm going to open it up to hold all the layers together. And now the fun's going to begin. You'll probably need a pair of tweezers, or a, you can use a bamboo skewer, something wooden, or a paintbrush bottom just to hold it, because we're going to use our heat gun. And the heat gun is going to heat up the fabric, and because it's a synthetic fiber, it's going to melt. So some people have used a flame with this, an open flame. That makes me very nervous. God forbid something goes up in flames over paper crafting. I don't think it's worth it. You can definitely use your heat gun. I have the Tim Holtz heat gun, but there are other heat guns out there that may be a little stronger than this one as far as the heat, being concentrated. So be careful when you first start out with these. Make sure you know what type of heat is coming from your heat gun, and just test it a little bit before you really start doing what I'm going to show you here. So the heat gun now, it's going to heat up, and as it heats up, it's going to melt the edges of the flower. And some heat guns have a really, really strong directed heat to it, so be careful. This one has more of a diversified heat that comes out of it. It's a little more spread out. But you can see how it's melting? I'm going to stop right there. See how that's melting? Right there. So when the heat, bring it up there. So when the heat hits it, it takes the petals and it melts it. Now you're going to do this all the way around the outside. You can do it on the inside. You can turn around the back and get the back leaves as well. But get really close there. You can see that the petals are starting to curl and it's starting to melt, and that's going to give it its flounce. That's going to give it its pretty shape. So let me continue here. And that's why I said you don't have to be neat when you're layering these up, because the outside edges are going to melt. And I'm going to try and hold my heat gun away so that you can actually see it. It's kind of difficult. But you can see the edges starting to melt. You can see I can move them around. Ooh, I can move them around with my my skewer. You can also use a pair of tweezers. I get a pair of tweezers and I can actually hold it. Just be careful with this, because the heat gun will obviously burn your hand. But once the heat gun comes really close to the fibers, once it comes really close and it gets hot, you can see it there. It's starting to curl up on the edges. You can turn it if you have the tweezers. You can actually turn it around and do the back side as well. This is a lot of fun. You can layer your colors. You can use different colors. I'm sorry, you can't really see it, but if I don't have the heat gun in the right spot, it's not gonna melt. So you can see see how it's curling the edges? It's really making it puffy. It's making it pretty. It's really giving it its loft. That's what I love about this. And you can curl them as much as you want. You can leave some uncurled, so you can see the edges there are really starting to curl around. And obviously the closer you go with the gun, you can see the closer that the heat will be concentrated, and it'll give you that nice curled edge. This is really hard to do, not getting the heat gun in the way. I apologize. I'm trying to give you the best shot here. Okay folks, so you can see that the flower is really coming along here. You can see that the edges are really starting to curl. They're starting to melt. They're starting to give you that nice lofty look. So I'm going to continue doing this. And there it, all the sides are curled, heated and curled. Isn't that beautiful? And what I did after this was I took my stickles and I wanted a little sparkle in here. So I just took my stickles and just randomly squeezed a little out, and as I was squeezing I kind of ran it through the layers. You can put it on the edges if you'd like. And you can kind of see it, see the sparkles coming through. This was the easiest way I found to add a little glitter to it. I tried other ways and it just did not seem to work as well. And that's it, folks. Isn't that a beautiful flower? Now, if you haven't got the right colors, and I was actually, believe it or not, this flower actually started out with this color here. I was able to, you can see the spray up there, I was able to use my spray, the dilution spray, and I used my aqua, let's use my hand here. Let's see, I used Vibrant Turquoise, and I was able to spray the flower and get the color to change a little bit. So, I'm going to move my tag out. So I'm using the spray here, quick little spray. And there we go, the color has changed a little bit now. Look at it. And I love the way it picks up the glitter, the stickles. It picks up the stickles and it actually changes the color of the stickles as well. So this is a great way to change your colors if you haven't got the right color tool, you haven't got the right color fabric you're working with. And you can even use, this is just plain water, use a little bit of water and kind of dilute the color a little bit if it's a little too strong. And we are messy as usual, which is always fun. But you can go ahead coloring and creating the actual layers and the colors of the flower that you'd like. So I think that's pretty cool. There's the flower there when it was dry, and you can see that it's pretty close to that. And I added a few more stickles on the card here, on the tag that I created. And you can see there's the smaller flower up there. I used the smallest of the leaves and put the brad in there and curl those up as well, and that's the smallest one. So there's the tag all done. And just really quick, the way I finished this flower was I used my Wendy Becky art pots. So that's this piece right here. And I colored it with the inks and the sprays as well. And I used a little bit of paint on the edges, and I used citrus. And that's that piece that went, you can see that piece that sits under there, and that's what the flower sits on, actually sits on. So it gave it some leaves underneath. I added some metal butterflies that I had. This was a pretty little gem. It was a silver and clear gem, and I colored it to match the flower with my Copics. Copic markers do color items that are non-porous. I added a few little leaves. Those are wooden leaves, the new ones that came from Prima. Little box here. So those are those leaves that I colored as well. and I used the paint, and I used the ink and the spray. This area right here, I used one of my stencils, and I used the embossing paste by Wendy Vecchi as well. And I embossed, I don't know if you can see it that well. Bring it up closer. You can see that I embossed it there, and I embossed it here, there as well. So just a nice close-up to see all the details. And then I colored it again, and I used the green, the citrus green. I did add a little bit of purple, and the purple color I used was Purple Twilight. It's really old. I'm not sure if it's still available or not, but I used Purple Twilight just to add, just to give it that little bit of purple color. These little guys here are leaves that I cut out of a Wendy Vecchi clear art pots. No, not art pots, I apologize. The clear, the fun moldable clear paper that she has. I cut that from a Tim Holtz die and added those in just for a little dimension. And then the stamp is a Donna Downey from, let's see, it's this one here, from Unity. And these are, I believe, empowered words. That's what they're called. And that's what you get in there, all those empowered words. And I used that one right there. So there we go, folks. There's the tag. It's going up on Eclectic Paperie's blog tomorrow for a challenge. So be sure to create a flower of your own. I think I'm going to put this on Tim Holtz's blog and see if it gets picked. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? It's fun anyway. Fun to play around and use your product, use what you have, and see what you can come up with. So hopefully you can make something pretty today, and we'll see you again soon.